The divorce papers were barely cold when I saw the smile. It was on her face in the courthouse hallway, soft, relieved, almost peaceful. No tears, no hesitation, just a calm kind of happiness that told me she'd already mourned this marriage long before it officially ended. I noticed it because I didn't feel the same way. 12 years of marriage reduced to signatures and polite nods. She hugged her lawyer, thanked the clerk, and walked out into the sunlight like someone stepping into freedom. I stood there a moment longer, holding a folder that suddenly felt heavier than it should have. When she turned back to look at me, she said, "I hope you find what you're looking for." I wanted to ask her when she stopped looking with me, but I didn't. I went home to an apartment that still smelled faintly like her shampoo. The echo was unbearable. Every room reminded me that I had been replaced, not necessarily by another man, but by a life where I no longer fit. That night, I didn't sleep. The next day, I saw her post a photo online. Just a coffee cup by a window. Sunlight. A caption that read, "New beginnings." She was happy, and that should have been my closure. But 2 days later, someone knocked on my door. It was just after sunset. I wasn't expecting anyone. Friends had stopped checking in after the first round of "Are you okay?" texts. Family lived out of state. I almost didn't answer. When I opened the door, my stomach dropped. It was her sister. She stood there holding her purse with both hands like it was the only thing keeping her grounded. Her eyes were red, not the dramatic kind, but the exhausted kind. Like she'd been crying quietly for hours. "I know this is weird," she said before I could speak. "But can I come in?" I hesitated. She had always been kind to me. Too kind, maybe. The type who lingered during family gatherings, who listened more than she spoke. The one who hugged me longer than necessary on holidays. I stepped aside. She didn't sit right away. She paced near the couch, then finally turned to face me. "I shouldn't be here," she said. "She doesn't know I'm here." That sentence alone told me everything was about to get worse. "She's happy," I said quietly, more to myself than to her. Her sister closed her eyes. "I know." There was a long pause, the kind that stretches until someone finally breaks it, not because they want to, but because they can't carry the weight anymore. "She was happy before the divorce, too," her sister said. I felt something tighten in my chest. "What do you mean?" She swallowed. "I mean she'd already moved on." I waited. I didn't interrupt. I'd learned that the worst truths come out when you let silence do the work. "She didn't just wake up one day and decide she was done," her sister continued. "It started over a year ago. The room felt smaller. She met someone through work," she said. "Not an affair like you're thinking. At least not at first. It was emotional. Long talks. Texts late at night. Complaints about you. About the marriage." I stared at the floor, nodding slowly. Pieces began rearranging themselves in my head. Late nights, sudden privacy, her phone always face down. "I found out by accident," her sister said. "She never meant to tell me. She just assumed I knew." I let out a dry laugh. Everyone knew except me. Her sister didn't smile. She planned the divorce around him. Not because he promised her anything, but because he made her feel ready to leave. Ready. That word hit harder than cheating ever could. "She wanted to be free before she was alone," her sister added. "That's why she wasn't sad. She already had her landing place." I thought back to the courthouse. The calm. The peace. The smile. It wasn't strength. It was preparation. "Why are you telling me this?" I asked. Her sister finally sat down, hands trembling. "Because she's lying to herself. And I couldn't stand watching you think you were the problem." I sat across from her, the distance between us filled with everything that had never been said. "She told everyone you grew apart," her sister said. "That it was mutual. That there was no one else." I nodded again. "That's what she told me, too." Another pause. "She didn't expect you to move on," her sister said softly. "She thought you'd be broken longer." That one surprised me. Why would that matter? Her sister looked up at me, eyes glassy. "Because part of her still wanted to be the center of your world, even after she left it." That night, after she left, I didn't cry. I sat alone in the quiet and replayed the last year of my marriage with new subtitles. Every cold moment, every unexplained argument, every time she seemed somewhere else while sitting right beside me. The next morning, I blocked her on social media. Not out of anger, out of clarity. 2 weeks later, I heard through mutual friends that things hadn't worked out with the man she thought would replace me. He hadn't left his own situation. He hadn't promised anything. The smile disappeared. A month after that, she texted me. Just one message. I hope you're doing okay. I didn't reply. Because sometimes closure doesn't come from the person who broke you. Sometimes it comes from a knock on the door. From someone who couldn't live with the truth staying hidden any longer.